Everybody comes into the world being held. These people here, they aren't held when they die.
The greatest suffering in life is to be alone. We wanted to become family for those who die and who are left alone, so they won't be alone as they go into their final resting place.
The people we bury have suffered mightily in this life, and I've always seen a Christ who reaches out to those who suffer in this world.
That's because Jesus himself knew the abandonment of having no place for his body to find its rest. It took the benevolence of St. Joseph of Arimathea to offer a tomb and the proper rites for burial, just as these young men are doing today. They're students from St. Xavier High School in Louisville, members of a society that bears St. Joseph's name. They volunteer as pallbearers at Meadowview Cemetery for the indigent to befriend the friendless and replace isolation with community and dignity at the end of life.
I remember one time a student said to me, he said, you know, when I go to these burials and I touch the casket and I carry it, I feel like I'm holding their hand.
This is a beautiful ceremony. This is something that we are offering to someone, you know, sometimes we don't even know their name.
I've been to 50 plus burials, and only a handful of times we see family at all. And it took me a while to realize how much bigger this was than myself. But when you see the other guys that come out here every single week for the entire year, whether it's cold, whether it's hot, rainy, snowy, it doesn't matter, they show up. It shows you how much this means to them and how much this means to the community.
I feel like a lot of men of our generation don't understand death, and they don't kind of want to think about it. Sometimes we don't even know their faith, but we know that we want them to go up to heaven and be with our Lord God. And so I feel that we have to take that step and pray for them. Even if they will never know, maybe those prayers will help them get to where they need to be.
You don't see death as the end, you see it as just a passageway, and it fills you with hope. It turns something that is very often seen as a sad and, fearful thing into something that we don't have to be afraid of.
It helps my faith life. It's faith in action. You can really see Jesus through it, especially because of St. Joseph of Arimathea Society, and it kind of shows you that Christ isn't someone we just talk about. You can find something beautiful in the brokenness, and that's what Jesus was. That's who Jesus was, and that's what you've been taught. But it's another thing to experience it.
It definitely strengthens my faith. It gives me something concrete to kind of hold on to. It's almost like a peaceful feeling I get. It's not necessarily, I don't get super sad. I'm also not super happy. It's just that I know that we're here doing something good for someone that had a rough go at it.
Just being able to feel an emotion this raw and this real has just it's done so much for me in my life. It's taught me that the pain of, it's showed me how much people can hurt. And as a Catholic, it's hard to watch people be alone.
And they're not going to be forgotten, or they're not leaving alone. They have someone here, even if we don't know who they are and they don't know us, they still have someone here praying for them, caring for them, and helping usher them to a better life.
One of the ways they are not forgotten is with these simple but elegant headstones. Hundreds of them were called for, but were prohibitively expensive. Word got out that a solution was needed.
I just said a little prayer. I just got up and walked up there and talked to him. And I was like, I think I might have something that might help you guys out. I take it as a sign or something that, the good Lord's giving me a nudge, because he's given me plenty of gifts, and I love volunteering and helping out. So I do think it was meant for me to be, there at that time so I could provide, my help with this charity that I love.
They're paver stones with 2 shades of gray concrete polymer sprayed on them to give a granite appearance. The names are added with another polymer, black, and Bobby can design them for pennies on the dollar. And there is community here as well. Students from the society, both boys and girls, pitch in.
I think it's amazing that these high school kids really see how important it is to these people just to be recognized. At the end of it, they really understood what was going on and how important this was for just, like I said, a family member to have this headstone.
And there was a gentleman one day when we were putting in the headstones, and he was looking at a headstone. He has tears coming down his face, and he said, "Who put that headstone there on the other side of the fence?" And I said, "Well, we made those for the people that didn't have one." And he said, "That's my mom." And he said, "I want to thank you for keeping her name alive.
The idea to engage young people came when Ben Cressy heard a radio story about a school in Cleveland that provided indigent burial services. St. X's wrestling coach at the time, he imported the idea and took a squad of his athletes to a burial. The idea among the student body proper, however, took off. 18 years and the involvement of some 400 students later, Catholic Charities has adopted the program in partnership with the Metro Government Coroner's Office and Metro Parks, with help from Owen Funeral Home. 3 to 5 schools in the Archdiocese participate each year in a rotation. Boys act as readers and pallbearers at burials. Girls read at cremation services. Matthew Wisman is director of Catholic Charities' Indigent Burial Program. He was once a St. X pallbearer himself and a student under Ben Cressy.
The motto I have come to live by and keep on my desk is that it's a radical act not to harden your heart. I tell our volunteers they have a very difficult job as volunteers, because some of the situations I see every day, a terminal illness for 5 or 10 years, or substance abuse issues, people that pass away that might even have ended up homeless. One of the first cases I had that had next of kin, her husband passed away, and she had 7 children under the age of 18. And it was, do I bury my husband or do I pay my rent? And it came down to, well, I'm not going to make a mother choose between having a roof over her kids' heads and showing their father dignity. Catholic means universal, and here we are a community that is concerned with everyone.
I've been to burials where the person has been murdered, and I've been to burials where the stories that I come to find out are very, very painful to hear, but I've never felt a sense of judgment. For me, to understand that they're my brothers and sisters, I would never ever judge my own brother or sister if they ended up in a life where they found themselves separated from community.
Life is all about relationships, and it's about love and caring for each other.
You look at Jesus when he collected the one sheep that left the fold. He didn't go out and judge that sheep. He just put it on his shoulders and he brought it back.